Popcorn got knocked very, very early on. Colt almost got off a sick 1v2, just retreated, got the reboot off. Still nothing really came out of that duo when it came to making it to the end game.
Unfortunate events happen. Things happen. You just can't be exactly sure of what's going to happen, even if we have this perfect record on them. We're like, y'all are amazing. That could definitely be the case in these coming up games, and I do believe that that will be the case. They're just getting their footing right. We'll give you the next game.
Yeah, there's a meta within the meta of the competition, right?
Exactly.
So it's all about adapting. But we are geared up and ready to go for game number 2 of the FNCS. Find your seats to the bus. It's game time.
Thank you, Zeke. I got my seat on this battle bus. After that first game, you better bet that I am on the edge of that seat as well.
I'm with you, man. It was crazy. My seatbelt's off. Listen, I'm just waiting for the horn at this point to ring off. Game 2's right in front of us. You saw what happens. Teams that were contested, Kanata Agers, survived, and look at what they turned that entire round into a miracle run.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of teams as well begin to use that Shadow Tracker augment, the flare gun with the Shadow Tracker pistol that you've seen them take very, very late into the game. So that makes me ask the question, did they choose to keep it? Is it something that they're having their blueprint, or were they just that down bad and they just made it work?
Well, the truth is they absolutely made it work. High ground was king there. I thought Epic Whale and Reet were going to be the team to turn it around. Incredible to see how they had the pulse rifle, right? Everything that you can possibly ask for, and then still fall behind in Surge. I wonder, what is it that they have to do to go ahead and tweak their spot, right? Because they're together. They're one of the few teams that are also literally playing in the same household. They should have the land buff.
Yep. And luckily that we get to find out very, very soon what's going to happen here on game number 2, because you heard the battle bus. It is ready to get going. What adjustments will be made from these players? We got a north to south bus with a little bit of a western lean, so some of these teams that may not have had the best off spawn will get a second chance to go at it again.
I'm already rooting for Cease and Tragics. I'm already rooting for Kanata Agers, Chubbs and Bryce. Okay, this is a fight we did not get to see kick off. We do know, however, that Shadow was in that endgame with Paper and no Paper. Chopped down Shadow as well, right? And quick. What went wrong? They must have just gotten beat to the drop this time.
Looked like a full-on 50-50 for just one chest. And you don't win the chest, then, well, that's it. It's Kanata and Agers trying to go 2 for 2. Great shots landed from Kanata right out of the gates. Here's that Agers needs some help over on the other side, but he pulls out a big one, taking down Giants. But Sprite, he fires back. He takes down the Kanata. And now at this stage in the game, that Siphon's going to be a must because Agers is hot on his heels. He has the Havoc. He has the tactical pistol. So the Siphon's going to come through. That's going to allow for Sprite to stay alive that much longer. He's doing a good job fighting back. All he has is that compact SMG, even a splash to get him that much closer to full health. But it's not enough to outlast Agers.
Ooh, but the tags, though, there's a team coming in quick. They even shoot the downed body, and Kanata falls there. It's Labucky and Okis sliding on in quick as well, not looking to give them any time. They have kinetic blades, too, so if they really want to push, they absolutely can right now.
Yep. Kind of watching a lot of streams, looking at a lot of what people think about how this is going to go down, and they knew this was going to be a lost spawn exchange at the racetrack, but Labucky and Okis, they're the ones that are taking advantage of all this. Instead of just landing at their split drop, looting up, they went straight for those kinetic blades, and now that they see a fight was going down, they're just trying to play janitor to clean it up.
I like this, though. Agers does manage to time his exit just sly enough that he doesn't get spotted out. Okis doesn't seem to catch wind of him either, and Bucky and crew are just like, yep, you know what? This is our racetrack now, and they get to claim the true spoils, honestly, the free shield and everything else in between here. What a time. Rotate. Now Kanata and Agers have to really think about that.
Think about so much off spawn. We saw them late in the game.
Hello?
4 helims. What is Duke and Edgy doing to start this one off?
I'm happy we got the replay here. I was gonna call it in. I was gonna call it in. Show me what happened. Duke and Edgy come in. They wrap up Bully's crew. They find Lizix, and another team timing these contested areas and taking full advantage.
That wasn't even the first 2 eliminations they got. That was just the latter, the last 2 that they were able to pick up. So they're already getting their game going. Off to a hot start is Nick and Nyx. Have a very, very similar position with a split drop, having to split loot with another team. So you're going to have to think outside of the box, your loot path and rotations to go ahead and clean up a lot of that loot.
Well, this is a 2-day competition. This is game 2. So for some, the journey is just beginning. You may have a lead, but it's not over yet. But ooh, the window shot. Commandment just showcasing that game knowledge right there, waiting for his opponents to go ahead and slide his way through. Now, these are metal structures behind you. You notice the Commandment second guesses trying to shoot through that. That's not going to work. Yep, it's going to take a whole lot of pickaxes, and now he gets himself trapped in the box. And no, unfortunately, small mistake. Those walls have a ton of health. That little difference there. That's why he got caught.
Yeah, and then Yusuf just coned him not once, but 2 different times. Seeking the distance here, and that goes down. He's just surveying for information. Visuals and Braids over towards Anvil Square. This is going to be a 2v2 that is going down against G Money and Dom. I've seen G Money throughout the different weeks of qualifiers. Definitely become a fan, but limit Braids and Visuals. They're no slouches either. They don't back down from any fight, but a couple shots fired off with the shield cake down that they know he is weak.
I want to see what he can do here. Sliding around. Looking for a more defensive play. He gets back to the box. He has plenty of loot here. This is what the fight's over now. You can see Anvil Square yielding out tons of great upgrades here. But the loot cap, man, got to get to it. Yup. I was going to say, it's not really worth sticking around and fighting for. You really got to get back to the farm here. Need your mats. Got to set yourself up for those mid games. You'll see this happen a lot amongst the top tier players. They'll start a fight. Maybe it's just not worth completing, right? And just go ahead and back out. It's totally fine.
Saw Mason and Scope there trying to sneak up. Third party, but from one side to the next. Moo is there. Got to wonder where School is at. That is going to be close by. I mean, Scare Bear there for a moment. They're going to back up just a little bit. Moo's not going to back down at all. He's trying to hold his position. He thinks he does have the advantage, which he does with a little bit of height, but he has to watch out into the distance. That third party is there. But a little bit of a blessing as it allows him to get a little bit more Storm Search in his back pocket before disengaging and rotating all together. These are the things you have to watch out for. If him and Scare don't necessarily have mobility, they can't lay it all on the line in a fight that is in Storm.
Looking at the feed there, Scope does find visual, so it looks like things concluded on that side. Now we get to hop in with Booga in Threats, who has the bridge for themselves here, so they're going to be able to cap out their metal. I'll put the rotate here. Threats trying to put himself in a more prime position. They do have zone 2, so very excellent spot to be in here. And already in top 10, not bad.
Just like last game, though. Got a south zone with a western pull. Teams have to start catching on to a lot of where the zone is going very, very early on with the kinetic blades. You don't want to get caught out. And talk about getting caught, though. Kanata, he goes down. That's Iyamso who's able to find that first elimination. And once again, just like last game, Agers is left by himself. He was able to put up 60 points in that last game. Some of it as a solo, some of it not. Let's see if he can do it again.
It's crazy how he's actually managed to find a functioning loadout, though, even though he was completely pushed off of the racetrack. Literally bounces back, brings back Kanata. Kanata falls again. And remember, they're in the top 5 right now. Yes, it's only game 1, but an excellent performance for a team that's being contested. You find yourself with such a huge advantage. You do not want to give it away. You already have one of the biggest challenges and hurdles in front of you. It's staying alive for Dragon and Elise. They are staying alive too. They wrap up now. This is the second time now we've seen this team pretty much tackle a crew like Nounsy. They're looking very well here.
Yeah, it's a team that I feel like it's just only a matter of time before they continue to perform at their potential, at their ceiling. They're one of the teams that kind of benefited to the combined regions, going on over to Central. Their ping got that much better. So I expect them to kind of continuously progress as the days go on, as Visuals ends up in a tight spot. He watches Braids go down, and Dom on the other side, he's going to be on the receiving end of a huge trade. He needs that siphon if he's going to be a solo.
You can see that excitement on his face. He was animated. He's feeling pretty good, but Scope, Mason come right on in, finish things up. Dust under the rug. Muzz and Degen, after a game 1 victory, looking pretty good here. Slow and steady wins the race for them. A sleeper duo, undoubtedly. Degen, people forget, have all of that experience of not only playing for placement, but performing in end games. He's one of those sleeper, absolute sleeper duos or individuals that we have here in the Fortnite space.
Yeah, you can see where they're kind of setting up on a little bit of a mountain that's already there in the distance. They see Mega's tower high in the sky. That's not something they want to challenge, which is why they put that ramp up. But from one side of the map to the next, Mega City, where you already see Reet and Epic Whale get that Mythic Havoc pump very, very early on. But we want to see how they're handling Surge. In that last game, it was kind of their demise at the end of the day. And with very, very mirrored zones from the last game, now they have a chance to kind of change things up, adapt on the fly, and see what they're really made of. Because we know they're one of the top contenders in this lobby.
It's crazy to think that Reet and Epic will be one of the teams facing the troubles of needing damage when they are literally in one of the most highly sought after POIs, the Mega City. Everyone just playing to that same strategy. Build a single tower base, use your red dot, look for free tags. It's kind of tough when everyone plays so passively and you don't get those freebies out the gate. There's Jamper and Crew looking really solid as well. Just trying to set up here, heavy hitting rifle in hand.
Gotta watch out though, him and Jamper are separated, you know as well as I do. If a team spots you out as a solo, whether your duo is alive or not, they are going to try to pounce, but the race continues. Hopefully Agers has his sneakers laced up pretty tightly because the racetrack all the way to the other side of the map. That's Quanti and Peterbot. So many duos have a chance to take shots, and now it's Quanti and Peterbot's chance. And if last game has any pressure on them for Quanti and Peterbot, they know they got to deal with Surge. They know they got to go ahead and try to make it to zone, because the longer they stay out here, the harder it is going to be.
At this point, there must be some stat waiting to get added around, like Agers has officially potentially survived the most tier 1 duos in a single game. Like trying to bring back his team. I'm sure there's something just waiting, some record to be broken right now. All, of course, because the Kinetic Blade allows you to just traverse the entire Fortnite space so quickly. But it looks like he will be able to bring back Kanata potentially right now.
Yeah.
Quanti and Crew say, hey dog, he's gone.
Yeah. I think the only trouble they're going to have is Storm Surge, but if they continue to go to the southern portion of the zone, if it continues to pull south as well, they will end up on a slower side of the zone eventually. Playing with Sphinx, a team that I love to see perform week after week, and you can see during the weekly finals, 8 of the 18 games were won by a contested duo in NA, and that's huge, because a lot of people kind of see it, I'm doomed, I'm a contested, my FNCS is over. This is writing a whole different script right before our very eyes.
Yeah, the thing is, like we said, historically speaking, the stats say if you are contested, you don't have too many chances at bringing home the full championship. Not a single team has been able to do that. The best placing we've seen is actually around 4th, I believe. So that is about as difficult it can get. But I would say in recent times, it's changing. I think we're seeing better performances from teams that are contested as teams have managed to become more consistent.
Acorn and Cold, team that everybody in Fortnite, or at least the large majority, kind of counts as one of the favorites to repeat back-to-back here at FNCS Major 2. But with only 8 points so far, it was only the couple eliminations in that first game going down before a lot of that placement begins to pick in. They need to start getting on pace here, a pace that we know they can have.
And do keep in mind, let's frame this picture for everyone. This is the most competitive lobby we have ever seen as far as the North American region goes, because we have this full-on merger. The player base is larger. The pool of competitors is just literally better. And for the first time, again, on the North American region, we have multi-regional FNCS champions competing against one another on an online event. So this FNCS for North America really is, on paper, probably the most crazy we've ever seen.
And with only 3 spots up for grabs for that global championship at the end of the year. That's why teams are making that big risk. Degen and Muzz winning game number 1, taking high ground very, very late in that game. Now they're going for Rift Island early, but another team is slowly but surely trying to close that same distance. While what was free in game number 1 for Reet and Epicwell may not necessarily be the same here for Degen and Muzz.
We talked about that from game 1 to game 2. There's going to be players and teams that become more and more bold with their decisions. These Rift Islands are not just going to be given away. Teams are going to begin fighting for it. When you need to take your game and make the best of it, you have to go for the best odds, and best odds means get the best weapons.
That's the 2 teams that even land near Shattered Slabs, and that's Death and Tahi that have that vault loot already. And if Degen and Muzz know it's there, they know to watch out. That one-shot potential can end your run in a singular second. And that's why you see them trying to break through. They're trying to get the piece control underneath their own as Degen kind of repositions. I don't think this is a fight they want to go ahead and continue to take.
No, the margin of error is so slim.
He doesn't even have a shotgun.
Not only that, they're in first place. There's quite literally no reason for them to fall this early in the game when you have an entire game of Fortnite in front of you. How much is that rifle worth to you? Not that much. They did just fine without it.
Yeah, see if they can kind of perform with both the Vault loot and the Rift Island. This is going to be something that's inevitable. It's Dragon and Liege. We saw them win their off-spawn exchange to start this game off. They got 8 more points to their total and quickly rotating from point A to point B and always trying to gather that information of a team just trying to rotate for free on the outskirts. They're going to go ahead and land a couple of shots, but with so many superstars in this lobby, Kelly, I got to go ahead and throw it to you to go ahead and let us know what some of the other teams are doing.
Well, if we're talking about superstars, then of course we have to talk about the multi-regional champion Muzz. Not only representing Oceania, but also a North American East champion, and now looking to claim his spot as the NA Central champion. And grabbing that first VR from Game 1 is a great start to it. And with the zone pulling back again over to Shattered Slabs, game number 2 might be in their pocket.
It's an excellent breakdown there, right? And we did see they gave up the Rift Island. So they actually said, hey, listen, let's just get on out of there. Judging by the loadout, Ager's loadout did get a little bit better. He doesn't have a shotgun now. So at least there were some upgrades for them, but it's cost him so much. He hasn't quite found the material that he needed. They were already desperately trying to farm their way back in. Agers and Kanata right now are back in the round, though. They can fight back for this.
Yeah, 2 different teams now trying to make it a focus. But that north side, that team that was trying to focus them and make a mean sandwich, they get kind of flued past on the other side, and it's forcing them to rotate. You don't want to be the team that falls behind on the congested part of the zone. And Agers and Kanata, they have so much to worry about. Storm Surge, matting up, getting resources, and rotating the zone. And that's why you see teams like Epicwell and Reet, they're flying above. They're trying to get there first so they can continue to gatekeep these teams out.
Yep. On free time, they may be friends, but here in this lobby, everyone is an enemy. Reet and Epic Whale right now have to really claw their way back from the gutters right now. They're currently standing in 29th place. The Surge is now active. Give it a second. Let that number on the side upgrade. Wow. There it is. We see it. 53 below. Once again, for this second time in a row now, unexpected to us, Epic Whale and Reet find themselves under the storm surge.
Similar zones in back-to-back games, forcing this team to move from Mega City to the west. But you talked about these champions, not Acorn and Cole, the Bolts and Thoric. The reigning champions from the former NA West region before we combined into just NA, and the shots are firing through. Reet's trying to escape, but he goes down. That leaves a lot of pressure on Epicwell, and you can see he's not rotating straight to be the savior. He's just trying to stay alive. You got Bolt and Thoric on one side, Iyamzo and Rise on the other, and a whole nother team right in front of them. So Epicwell, as a solo, definitely has his work cut out for him.
Man, the struggle that he is on right now, you can see it playing out. Yes, he finds his tag, but he is a man down. He take this fight by himself. Potentially, I think he's eyeing out Larson. I believe he thinks he's a solo. And he's feeling competitive enough to go in and push forward. Doesn't quite find him. Almost caught him there. And now things start to slow down. He did hear one splash go down. Yep, that's going to be enough for him to pump the brakes here. Sees that there's a player also inside the building. He is surrounded. Danger everywhere.
Yeah, they know somebody else is there. That's Larson and User. They were the ones who took down Iyamzo literally just seconds ago, and that's why you see Rise just trying to hide, minimize the amount of audio cues that he has given up to try to stay alive. These solo points mean so much in a 2-day tournament. And that's exactly why you see Agers literally flying around the map as a solo just to get Kanata back, not once, but 2 different times in the same game. If they're able to pull off a victory royale, I feel like that might be history in the making.
I've been talking about it. They could be one of the first teams to ever take a team down. But Quanti finds Agers and Kanata charging up that kinetic blade. Kanata gets crushed on the way out, and Agers sticks behind to play defense here and fend off Quanti. He has to put down enough tags. He might just get it. Yes, there it is. The Siphon is going to keep him alive. They much needed this loot. Oh my gosh, what a pickup that was. It might have been actually the best ambush that could have happened to them because Quanti was a literal loot llama.
You gotta go ahead and give a little bit of credit though.
That was crazy.
That augment, the mythic munitions. So even though Ager was down on loot, he was able to get that mythical tactical pistol and already putting it to use because that one broke through the cover and started off a lot of that damage. As Epicwell, 6 total FNCS champions, most of any player here in this lobby. This is what somebody is made of. This is what makes somebody a champion. And all these points that Epic Well could potentially pick up as a solo is really going to mean the difference from a team which are backs up against the wall with only 2 games played and a team that has a little bit more comfortability on their side.
I mean, there's an apple there. I don't know what you want to do with that, Epic Well.
Apple, they keep the doctor away.
Take it. Do something. I don't know, dude. He's got a lot of space here. Just a single wood piece of build to work with now. And it is a tough position to be in. It was Kanata and Agers who just slid in from outside the zone. Man, Kanata must be scratching his head here at, is he lucky or unlucky? I don't know, right? Is he having one of the toughest games, or one of the greatest games? The fact that he is back in it and able to have a chance at maintaining the top 5. I didn't expect him to be doing this well, but look, they are at now 3 eliminations.
Yeah, that's huge because I said it in game 1. Kanata, probably one of the best solo players in the game. Agers say, yo, hold on, hold my slurp juice. You are not going to just disrespect me like that. And then he now is making solo play after solo play. Surprising, though, that they are kind of close, even down on Surge, flirting with that line. Even though they have 3 eliminations, it goes to show that everybody in this lobby may not be the healthiest at this stage of the game.
Yep, for sure. There it is. Surge is going to get active. To conclude the story, though, Pollo does take out Epic Whale, so he is now down and out. One less big team to worry about. Let's jump on over to Duke, who now has found himself pretty much trailing in the lead here. Another big game for them. 5 eliminations, and we're only just now getting to this end game here. Good chunk of teams do have to fall before we hit that next placement threshold, but we are getting very close now.
Team that, honestly, you got to expect them to perform. At almost every stage in the game, it's just about consistency that comes out for them. You saw them place at the top of the leaderboard in that first game. That's amount of confidence that you can hold on from one game to the next. It's Jeff and Rapid. They don't have any eliminations yet. They're 107 below the damage threshold, trying to take advantage of anybody flying through the sky, trying to get in the zone, even if that is going to be Booga. They spotted him out as a solo. Now they're trying to close the distance and take advantage while they can. The harder this one gets is when everybody is close together. But you see they've got the farthest pull of the zone. It's now or never for them.
I was going to ask you, what do you think about that? They've gone the complete opposite way.
Hey, that could be a blessing in disguise because while that whole right side of the map is so congested, it's hard to go through, the left side doesn't have that many people, but it makes it easier to spot people when you look back. And Jeff was on the receiving end of so much damage, but it's a trade for him. That's the way he's viewing it. Still 12 damage to go. He's 168 now thanks to Rapid finding a couple of shots on the other side. But with everybody already beginning to rotate, that's going to put them in such a tricky position of when and where they're going to find their own rotation.
I will say you love to see both pairs or sides of the duo putting up the numbers and performing. Jumping on into Tahi and Def here, 2 eliminations for them right now. It's a very tight spot to be in here. They're very much below the surge. Shots are coming in as well. That's only the beginning of their troubles here as the dust starts to settle. Thoric is going to fall to Sphinx there. Batch finds one too, so big fights going on here. Tahi reacts, though, onto Pump. Pump thought he was going to get himself a nice little tag there. No, sir.
Yeah, it's one you don't expect for somebody to have that mythic Havoc Pump, the one-shot potential. Trashy daring enough to try to peek back. A trade-in shot's going to come through, but now he's on the advantage side as he takes down Tahi as well. That's going to be a huge elimination because not only is he able to get Pump back into the game, he got himself his own mythic Havoc.
That was good, though. You know, Trashy, Pump, the way they played this one out. Yeah, Pump got hurt, but he calls it out. He said, nah, bro, finish him. That was a lucky shot. Don't worry about it. That was pretty crazy. Let's jump into Clarity G. Casker here, finding themselves in the line of sight of Batman Booga here. They just lice him up just like that. Batman Booga, no, scratches the head. Tough. Getting caught out on a rotate right now. Tough position to be in. You hate to get laced up like that.
Yep, from Batman Booga, though, to Booga himself. Him and Threats just going through 54 points so far. Mythic munitions as well. And that's a great chance to really find the surge that you're looking for. Even though they're already above, you're able to fire shot after shot after shot and just laser people out of the sky. Even though Booga's going to try to lead the charge, leave Threats to deal all the damage as Kanata is down. Agents once again by himself. But honestly, Kanata said it himself a few seasons ago in an interview. I love my teammate. He can pop off. I have all the trust in the world. And now he's going to have to trust him again.
And we're really seeing it play out right now. And not only that, Kanata, he was brought back, finds an elimination before getting taken out again there too. So this is now 4 elims for them. They're right back into the game, but still below that Storm Surge threshold. This could be the thing that topples them over. It really could be now. We've seen them overcome mountain after mountain, but how many times can they jump this hurdle? How much stamina do they have? Azers here, looking to battle out. Eyes up, high ground says, wait, that's just one player. Thinks about it, misses though. They don't build out in front of him, and he does touch down just in time to go ahead and heal up. But let's jump to Fat. Let's jump to Pam still. The French Canadians are here.
Already popping off in game number 1, trying to have that repeat performance. Over 600 above, and immediately trying to get to the front side of zone as Agers goes down to a Liege. Acorn and Cold, they're able to take down a Liege himself, leaving Dragon as a solo. And finally, their crew chunked out. Acorn has to be the IGL and lead the way and allow for Cold to buy some time and stabilize himself in this position. That's already going to come to fruition as Duke, also by himself, trying to look to the backside of the zone, trying to catch anybody off guard, but he doesn't necessarily need this elimination. It's information that's important to him.
On high ground, Booga and Threats get taken out though, and the flare guns are going out as well, so the information is given out to the lobby here. Bryce, Chubbs on the ultimate low here, trying to size their way around the sides here. Threats and Booga have to fight back for it. It's a battle for high ground, and they do manage to maintain some positioning, but they are punished in the process. What could have been a win was fought back from Zypha in on one. The West crew is here and ready to fight. Duke finds Bucky there, and the full finish too. Make that 7 for him now.
At least them, they have Ocus trying to stay alive and capture some points. Cold goes down to Poyo. That's going to leave Acorn by himself, but we know he was already in shambles, so it might be a blessing in disguise. For after week, all 3 weekly finals has been surprising us with him and Sphinx, but now he still has some more to prove as a solo.
Big names under the belt there, but Pamstel is now by himself too. No teammate inside here. Elevation's looking a little spooky here. He's like, I got to get down, but I don't want to be the first to touch down. Acorn tries to go for it, gets caught on the way on down. Flied, swatted out the sky there by the hands of Bryce here, and Duke, another solo. Look at this, 11 players up, 8 duos. There are all types of solos here in play right now.
Yeah, this is huge though for Duke, because you saw him at the top of the leaderboard in that last game, get a good spot. Now he's trying to do it again. Him and Edgy, they need this. Booga drops down low. We saw them get up high very, very early on with very, very little help to work with. Threads gets tossed toward the backside, but Booga's going to solidify himself into the top 4. Can he go even farther into this game? Miro's right above. A huge tag's going to come through. Our final 2 teams, Duke's by himself. Tries to chop down Bryce. Chubbs is underneath as well. They're trying to make a Duke sandwich as he's trying to get out alive. Bryce kinetic blades up. He takes a lot of damage to the storm. Duke can do it. A knock's going to go through, but it's not enough. Duke goes down. Bryce and Chubbs take game 2.
That was crazy. For a moment there, it could have been his, but Chubbs managed to do just enough damage for Bryce to go ahead and finish things up with a 1 top there. What a game that was, and then a ridiculous exchange of hands, I may add.
Yeah, it was kind of going to show that Chubbs and Bryce, even though they might not necessarily be the most known, they might not necessarily be seen as the superstars of the region, that means absolutely nothing to them, because whether they're going to take it by storm, take it by surprise, they're going to take it no matter what.
It's crazy because it could have ended right there. Bryce and Chubbs had a moment to fight back, and they took advantage of it. They found Booga too. What a way for them to close it out.
Yep, with after 2 games, the leaderboard is already being shaken up. And Zeke, we need you, man. We need you to make some sense of this.
Listen, Jacob, for a moment there, I just blinked and I feel like I missed it, you know? Chubbs was just smooth, dude. This guy was slick with it, just boom. Kinetic blade, boom, boom. Eliminations left, right, and center. But for Bryce and Chubbs, hey, a Victory Royale and 8 eliminations, Vivid, on a stage like this, with a caliber of duos like this.
Yeah.
Statement.
Well, we actually saw Booga and Threats were on the high ground, and then they got shot out, and I feel like, Bryce and Chubbs, they just took full advantage of that, ended up on the higher ground. Since it was so late when they actually were able to get up onto that layer, they were just able to build out for the rest of the lobby, let everybody else fight, and it was close there at the end. I think both of them collectively had like less than 100 HP, and Duke was alive, almost, giving him the chance to 1v2 them, but there you have it. They're just built all the way up here, waiting for everybody else to kind of fight it out on the low ground.
You were saying, too, like, if you blink, you're going to miss it. We could just see in this replay. Chubbs' eyes was locked on everybody. I mean, just literally could see where everybody was very aware of where all the players were, and was getting elimination back to back to back. It was very cool to see, but if if you look too quick, you're gonna miss it. So I'm excited to, like, I'm so pumped that they were able to perform so well. They weren't some of the top teams we talked about, but again, like, we can have some really big performances from some of the underdogs.
Yeah, I like that. And that's kind of where I'm at as well, right? A lot of these higher profile duos we're just used to seeing haven't quite come online just yet. Now, this is only game 2. We have 12 total, right? But still, when we look at the standings, I feel like this is kind of starting to paint a little bit of a picture for us. Take a look here. Dukes and Edgy, they are now in that #1 spot. Now, for Bryce and Chubbs, they're up 9 places after that single game, right? Those eliminations, look at this, 12, Vivid, those are extremely valuable.
Yeah, 12, but somebody who has even more, getting more value out of the eliminations, 4 points each, going to be Duke and Edgy. And, you know, I feel like it's just all about momentum when it comes to the all-spawn situation. You know, we didn't really get to see much of it actually unfold that game. They, like, left their spawn with 4 eliminations somehow. Not really sure, like, what's going on. I knew that the south side of the map was going to be, like, this fest where people were trying to steal loot from people. And right now, Duke and Edgy aren't having any of it, and they're just eliminating anybody who kind of dares to do that.
I love the aggression that we're seeing from them in a positive way, again, because they're not making you know, they're making very smart decisions and rotates. And again, like, we can just see this. The way that they play this game is so intelligent, so smart, and that's why we've seen them on the screen so much recently. Like, Jacob has talking about them, and I honestly think that they're going to continue to keep talking about them, and we'll see a lot more highlights from them in the future.
Yeah, of course, you know, a lot of these eliminations coming from Duke himself as a solo. Those solo performances mean so much when it comes to these FNCS lobbies.
That almost went a different direction.
Exactly,
as well.
yeah.
Right.
Duke almost did pull that off. And for him and Edgy, like, Edgy looking for that FNCS title. To be where they are, we just have to hope that that momentum continues. I do want to continue looking down the standings of someone like Hamstu and Fetch. I mean, these guys are some of the most wholesome players on the scene here in NA. To see them in that 3rd place spot, up to 7 placements as well, you just need one good game, right? And then you can be looking to contest for those top 3 spots.
Yeah, and a team that, you know, can definitely have those pop-off games is going to be Bugha and Threats, up 7 places as well, finding themselves in the top 5. Now, that game was really, really good for them. They had this 8th zone rotation where they found the dead side on the west side of the zone, were able to make that rotate, you know, pretty much just free. And then when they got through that rotate, they pretty much just built up on the high ground, which you can see that position right here, right now, also using that mythic pistol to get some tags in. Unfortunately for them, though, they did get chopped out here. They were probably going to win this game if this didn't actually happen to them. Nonetheless, though, still a good game from them.
I was gonna mention that. Yeah, getting chopped out. It's just it's unfortunate and it happens. Yeah. But again, if they can figure out the perfect time to take that height in these future games, I'm curious to see if they will continue going for height, if they'll play mid ground. What do you think, David?
Yeah, and if it's anything that we know about NA throughout this season, throughout the weeks, it's that they have been more, you know, potent to actually shoot towards some of those teams that are building those high ground layers. Of course, this season has just been about just the floor and the cone, basically. So a lot of these teams are really, really easy to shoot out. Just a matter of somebody's going to do it or not. That game, somebody did it.
You know, as we kind of continue this conversation of moving up, one quick one, Acorn Cold. Suddenly, in that top 10, up 19 places. Now, really quickly, we want to highlight some of the Storm Surge situations we're seeing develop here. Cease, we had an opportunity to talk to him at the very beginning of the show, and I don't even know that I want to call this Storm Surge. It's more like Storm Sickness, Vivid.
This is like dancing around the lobby, right? We're going to take a look at some of their positions when it comes to the early game. Of course, you know, this season has developed so many times. The meta has changed. And one thing that this season kind of started off with is that you didn't want to stay in the Storm because, you know, winning these games required you to heal off. So if you took a lot of Storm damage, then you would get Storm Sickness. But take a look at Cease and Tragic, knowing the meta very, very well, landing all the way over at Brutal Bastion and just staying there, right? Like, all of these teams are making the rotates in, and they're just like, nah, we're fine. You might be like, all right, well, they're going to white line at the zone, right? They got to get the zone. No, they're still going to just go out pretty much even further in the zone. And the key thing here is that they're going from Brutal Bastion. They can go into the vault, get a lot of heals. They can go over to a big POI like the Citadel, get more heals to stay out in the zone. And then finally, we'll see them actually start to make their way into the zone. And look at this. They avoid the congested side. If they would have went in, directly white lining it over on that east side, look how many teams they would have been next to. Now, coming in over here, just a couple to deal with.
Yeah, and it is very interesting because, again, like we talked to him, and he was very confident about their strategies and their gameplay coming into this. So I'm sure that they have a reasoning for this, and maybe we'll see it in these coming up games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I don't know that it's Storm Surge, more of a Storm Sickness, but it's working, right? And with 10 more games to go, maybe they can make something huge happen here. Whew. I feel like the first two games, now we started to bring up the heat a little bit.
Yeah.
Anything you're hoping to see moving forward, Vivid?
You know, Cold got 5 eliminations that game. Acorn doing his thing, solo impact points. More of that.
I'd love to see it.
I love to see it. Agreed. Yeah, I just want to see these teams to continue to put their foot forward and put up the best performance they have.
Hey, it's now or never because we're drawing ever closer to the conclusion of Major number 2. But we have more games. I want to watch more Fortnite, and I know you do as well. So let's get back to all of the action. This is Game 3.
That's right, it's Grand Finals weekend. 2 games down. Another one is up to be served here next. We are inching our way towards crowning some new folks, not only the FSCS champions, but of course, potential advocates for the Globals.
3 spots up for grabs. That's what you're referring to, Monster. And third game is ready. That's a bunch of 3s here today, and hopefully one of these teams can really step up to the plate. We've seen a lot of consistency so far. Duke and Edgy, Bryce and Chubbs, Pamstu and Fatch. Somebody has to start to slow these guys down and take their own game under control as much as possible. You don't want to end up down on the leaderboard day 2, forced to get eliminations to make up for lost time. And already you see our game number 2 victory royale winners, Bryce and Chubbs, uncontested over towards the split drop just outside of Breakwater Bay.
You know, it's crazy. They won that game, and I just completely, and I mean completely forgot. They contested the well-performing Shadow and Paper. Even after falling in that last game, they maintain a top 9. This is such... you know, again, already a story that I wanted to see play out and go in the favors Kanata and Ager. But the wrench that was thrown in game 2, Bucky sliding up and quite literally cleaning up Agers and Kanata there, forcing them out of the drop, taking advantage of their POI and sniping all the loot. And they still did so well. And now Kanata and Agers get the 2 Elans that they were looking for, and they are able to finally loot.
Gonna give themselves a lot of time to work with this time around. That's a blessing for them as on one Zypha. They bless themselves once more. Another off-spawn exchange, and that's the thing. On one, his former teammate Baka. Look at this. Going into the FNCS Invitational, they had a drop spot in Southern on the map. The day of the event, they switch it up all together. They contest, and they were one of the highest placing NA West teams.
Let me just tell you a little story about On One as well. I walked up to him, he's like looking around the lobby. He says, yo, Malibuka, let's fight. They load up, they go head to head. He's like, yo, this kid's crazy. He's just there, ready to take on literally anyone, showing them like, put some respect on us. We're here. Yeah, I'm a controller player, but I'm gonna show you how good I am. And it was insane. We had some ridiculous fun head-to-heads. You can find the clips online, trust. But let's jump into this. We have Trashy, Pump, eyeing up Qua and Jock right now. He's having a hard time as Pump's already pressuring the walls here. I like this little pincer maneuver they're trying to work out here, but yeah, you can see Pump's gonna get punished there. I think it's TK and Crew also firing in from behind, so a lot of eyes here. It's not a completely safe 2-on-2, but for now, it's Jock and Qua, who I think have the advantage here.
So they've earned it, taking down both Trashy and Pump at this stage. And this is big for them. They gotta start to get that ball rolling. Even though there is 12 games spread out between 2 days, the farther you are on the leaderboard going into day number 2, you have to make up for that lost time. Just like Yamzo and Rise, not necessarily having the best 2 games in which they know they can have. That's why here, before the halfway point, they're gonna try to turn it up a notch. They gotta perform here. It starts with this battle against Nick and Nix.
See Yamzo and Rise right now, looking for the walls here. Not only taking, of course, the material gains, but advantage the surrounding area. There it is, the double shotgun shot. The wall falls pretty quickly there. Nix and Nick here already lost this battle once in game 2. Learning, adjusting here, being a little bit sharper with the counter fire. What a great find, too. The chest there to give them the option, the Havoc shotgun there. Of course, the material that comes out of it as well is just a great pickup.
Resource management is huge in an off-spawn fight like this, but you gotta watch out. And the third party is coming in. That's Bucky and Okus over towards the outside. You saw what they did last game to Kanata and Aegis. They're looking to repeat that to another team. And as Yalzo catches Nick off guard, that's going to be a huge cleanup, but time is running out. They need to be able to get the next one, and they do. Down goes Nyx, but in the distance, we talked about it, Bucky and Okus, they're right there on the other side of that mountain.
I'm happy Yamzo hit that shot. I was like moments away from downplaying the combat, but he says, give me a second. Let me show you what we can do with that. We jump on over to a battle in action. Forget the ambush. We have Aiden and Hound right now. Huge tags already to open things up here. The focus, the game face here. The comms are coming out, and Aiden's communicating excellently here, but Hound is in trouble. Tries to come to the rescue of his teammate. There it is. Puts down the big heals here. Zone starting to slide in now as well. If it already wasn't trouble for Paper and Shadow with Bryson Chubbs here, who is currently in first place, by the way. Now they have the Storm on top of them and a fresh duo.
Yeah, there's a 3 stack of teams here, and the shots you saw moments ago coming in from what some would think is a third party. It was actually a fourth party. It was Clarity and Caskers that land actually at Breakwater Bay. You see them right there, their mini-map, that little bit of an arrow. They still are looking out there. That's a huge opportunity for them to take advantage of early game Storm Surge and all these teams that are being held out. And already you see Chubbs, Bryce, you talked about them being contested for Paper and Shadow. They're going ahead and trying to move north. For a lot of these teams, early game Surge really kind of shows and puts your path right in front of you for the rest of the game, because if you're down on Surge, you didn't find it, well, you're going to have to get that Surge regardless.
That is right. Surge is extremely important. And it's not just physically heating up here in the studio. It's heating up on this field right now. Chubbs is hurt as he gets tagged by the duo that is rotating out right there, Hound and Crew. Then you still have Paper and Shadow sitting underneath you. They are likely and willing to sit in the Storm for as long as possible because they have to survive this game. They cannot sit another round out. They've already given up game 2 by dropping earlier than expected.
And this is a big fight that they just finished up from Polarize and NPen. He got 3 eliminations. I need to figure out how he got those eliminations. Well, here goes number 1. Down goes DeQuinton. Sonetto is on the other side, and Polarize not backing down. So there goes number 2. Stack them up. You can knock them down, and then the former NA West champions are going to be on the receiving end of a monster shot. Down goes Thoric. That is just huge, and obviously NPen got an elimination. That was Bolts as well, so 2 teams in the blink of an eye just went out.
And it's insane because we saw what especially Thoric and Bolts were capable of. Surge Week was just a sample of the highlights they were adding to the reels here. But let's get involved right now with Duke and Edgy, our current first place leaders. 176 overall points right now, leading by quite a fair margin as you start to break past second there. They're about a game and a half or so ahead of the competition.
Yep, I mean, we've seen it from Queasy and Vino over on the EU side of things, and they're looking to be the team over on NA to have such a monster lead for themselves. Batman, Booga, and Bacon. They're a team. When they're able to get things going, it is like a freight train. They are hard to stop, but until that point happens, they're just kind of an up and down, a roller coaster of emotions as DJ and Muzz, the victor were out in game number 1. But just like in that Cash Cup yesterday, they gave themselves a very, very early lead on the leaderboard. They just were unable to hold on to it. So I'm just hoping that was a kind of a bittersweet feeling. Didn't perform well in that duo Cash Cup, but you're able to kind of adapt and fix your mistakes on the day that matters most.
I agree. You have to fix your mistakes in real time. You don't have many chances to do so otherwise. We are in game 3 here. Literally, after this moment, we'll be past the halfway mark. When you're having fun, time flies. Again, Muzz and DJ did take that first game. They are already feeling themselves up right here. They picked up a win today.
Yep. Even though they did know a solo was kind of there, I mean, they got the first elimination. They're just not getting greedy. They know they're already deep in the zone. They can't go ahead and sacrifice it. User and Jamper, 96 points. This duo is performing exceptionally well on the day, and already with Mason going out, not getting knocked, you know, him and Scope are back to the luck.
Yeah, big pickup right there. Eases things up. Recently browsing Twitter, looking at Scope, post some clips up, and my gosh, the chain of headshots this man put just recently makes you really wonder if you have good aim or not. You start to way up the competition, but Jamper right now tagged in a rotate here. Eyes on sight of Casker, Clarity G. You can see the chug barrel animation leaking through the wall there of Casker. That just means he's sitting there, he's healing right now. He's willing to take these trades, these open exchanges. If anything, he's actually asking you to look in and shoot.
Wow. Both games today were won by teams without a victory royale during the weekly finals. It just goes to show that sometimes those are just proving grounds. Those are lessons being learned day after day and game after game. But in the first two of today's games, we had southwest zones where we're going to pull a complete 180. We're going north for the winner with an eastern lean on.
Well, if you think back to majority of the interviews we've had with professional players, they quite literally say, hey, listen, I love finals lobbies. It's just different.
Yeah.
It's honestly easier for some. They just perform better when the stakes are the same and they know exactly who's in their surrounding environment. So preparation goes a long way. It's no surprise, I think, that the sample size of wins are starting to open up now as we're getting to these finals lobbies. Let's jump in with Lawrence and hide and seek here, though. We were hyping up hide and seek earlier as, again, an individual alongside Lawrence who have really, really found their stride in the recent weeks here.
Yeah, so
They'll find their way all the way through to the most difficult North American lobby to date.
Yeah, both of these teams kind of looking out for each other. Macwood, Commandment, Seek, and Lawrence. They got the zone for now. The only question mark is how much surge do they actually have? And if they have it, they really got a sense of comfortability as they don't really have to rotate far. They don't got to be stuck behind everybody else. Like Visual and Braids, they're trying to beat other teams to the punch over on this eastern side because the more and more it does begin to pull, the more congested it is going to be and the harder it is for everybody to find a safe spot in zone.
In so many ways, Fortnite is so different today at the highest levels than it was at the earlier years, but in some ways it isn't. Single tower bases on positions of high ground has quite literally made its return in the recent chapter. Again, heavily to do with the influence of these red dots. This is just meta, right? This is literally the best strategies to position yourself to find tags, hit opponents, and of course put yourself in a position to be successful.
And you can see Tamso and Fat, they activated the early cache. They see it over on in the distance, and now they're trying to backtrack, trying to claim all the loot is theirs, but there's a team that's hot on the hills. That's on one. That's Zypha. Fats looks back, spots him at the tail end. That is absolutely perfect timing for them because that is not a team you want to get surprised by. They know they like to fight, so if they find a way to get some early red-eye tags onto you, know they're going to close the distance and try to finish it off.
Biggest difference between the two, though, Fatch and Pamsu are the the longest played together duo that we've seen today. Going against some of the new freshly paired duos of Zypha and On1, so you got to be careful. Let's jump on with Jeff and Rapid here, who are inside the Mega City. One of the few teams here in the Mega City. Mega City is just, oh man, there's so much conversation surrounding the duos here, but I'm sure for Vert and Rokane as well. The big island, Rift Island, spawns right above them.
Just are they going to be the team that goes for it? They're the only team here now and already up. There's going to be Vert, first one to reach the top. And interesting enough, there are very, very few teams that can even contest it at this stage in the game because there's nobody in the distance. It's like they got themselves at center of their own zone. So the longer they can kind of position themselves there, the better it is going to be. And for Rokane, you look at his loot, those pulse rifles might be a must, especially if you depend on where they're at in terms of that storm surge, because now they have the highest elevation on the map.
That's right. We got a complete environment shift here. The last two games, southwest pulls. Now we getting up to this northeastern side, very far east as well. The true chance to start to pull as far as possible. But for us, though, we of course got to get caught up. Let's talk to Kelly. Kelly, fill us in.
Thank you so much, Monster. It's not too much of a surprise that one of the main factors of being a top player in Fortnite is being able to adjust to all of the patches. The most recent one taking away the ODM gear, one of the main modes of mobility. And we're seeing players like Knifer only able to find one kinetic blade out of their duo, and that's the same case for other duos as well. Both of these teams right here are landing on the northwest side, but we can see that this is an eastern polling zone. So this mobility is going to be a bit of an issue for both of them.
Thank you so much, Kelly. A lot of changes coming almost week after week. The players are kind of forced to adapt, especially when it comes to mobility. Kinetic Blade is almost a must, especially when you do get these far pulls as Paper loses his teammate Shadow. Shots coming on right behind. That's a team that kind of looks like he's positioned on the highest mountain in the lobby. I called Riptide the highest elevation. Well, they're trying to match that. You see the distance being closed over on the side. Paper has to keep things going. He's just getting chased down right now. He does have a flare gun to try to spot him out. That Scare Bear on the other side. A nice trade in shots for Paper. He's just trying to back down his opponent, buy himself time. He needs 10 seconds to get this med kit off. Scare Bear, he probably sees it, knows that he's trying to heal, stopping it right in its tracks yet again. And even though Scare Bear, he's not going in trying to trade shots, he's just trying to stop the med kit in itself.
Yeah, he's definitely timing out Paper right here. Gets the Siphon, the elimination off of Shadow. Looks down at Paper. He already got tagged once by Paper, and he didn't quite land a tag onto him. So he doesn't know really what the situation is here. Did he heal? You know, is he going to be a formidable opponent for me to finish off right now? Do we just take this W and back away? But wow, there it is, the white tag. Now the deal has been sealed. Oh my God, I was going to say, how do you survive that? Don't know. But all right, he finds the headshot, the follow-up comes in right afterwards. Moo and Scare Bear find themselves a nice elim lands right on Degen. What a surprise.
I think he was even surprised by that one. But his accuracy is out of this world. That's a monster of a shot. Because if he doesn't take out Degen's shield and HP right there, he's in a 2v1 against a team that's already won a game on the day. And you're seeing how the little differences, even when you're caught off guard, really make that much of an impact. Acorn and Cold making an impact in game number 2, jumping up 19 spots on that leaderboard. And this is a team that you can never count out. It doesn't matter where they're at the end of day 1. They always can climb back. As Tahi, Death, they go down. That's Elite and Dragon who take them out. And honestly, if they had the loot that they usually get from Shattered Slabs, that was a huge victory for Dragon and Elise.
And you know Tahi and Death are just thinking, don't you just love when we're just trying to rotate to the safety and a team lands on you?
They did get it.
Dragon and Elise right here.
They got more than enough loot to work with. 241 above the damage threshold as well. So many teams looming in the distance. You already see the flare guns popping off like the 4th of July in the distance. Dragon luckily does find a med kit. It's at least something to work with as soon as he makes inside of zone. Heals are going to be a must, but he's going to have to do it by himself as Elise does get caught out so far back of zone. That's Cooper who's going to get credit for that elimination.
Let's watch it. He's going to find Bully here and lose Elise to the edge there on the rotate. Now left to play this one out by himself. Wants to secure the pickup here. There it is, finds himself some good loot. But things are going to start to escalate pretty quickly here now. The congestion is really starting to show its face there. DJ and Muzz, though, let's jump back on over. The team that was hit by the surprise fight before finds now the opportunity to take down Lawrence and Hide and Seek. Another team fires in, and they actually pull zone as well. That's going to be a sweet surprise as they're up here isolated already, taking on this 2-on-2. Big chance now for Muzz and Degen to really start to break away and catch up to those teams inside the top 10.
I don't know who that was over towards Lonely Labs, but they were that third party that you never want to invite to the party again. It was looking like it might have been Pars. Baka over on the other side. Finally, they showed themselves here in game number 3. I talked about them in the Duo Cash Cup last night. They won back to back victory royales. 10 eliminations, and 8 to kind of close it out. They got to figure out a way to channel that same style of play here in the finals. They definitely have more than enough games, though, to kind of figure it out.
That's right. I mean, we've been hyping up the fact that, you know, the difficulty of the lobbies are showing itself here in the FNCS, but yes, exactly, the Cash Cups as well. I saw a big exchange, though, in the feed there. Mero found Kanata. Oh, Kanata is down. Excellent timing to go ahead and jump on in here and get a little temperature check of what's going on right now. Kanata really has had an extremely difficult time in games 2 and now game 3. But all right, he's going to be able to get saved here. Look at this metal fortress they've managed to set themselves up for right here. So very good spot to be in.
Yeah, I saw Bucky and Okus once again. I'm actually loving Bucky and Okus this season, the way they're playing in the finals, because they're able to kind of flex. They go ahead and go after racetrack. They go towards the north. They take advantage of every single piece of information they hear, and they do it on the spot. Cooper, they're trying to take advantage of Zyphon on one, land some shots, drop them down into their box. when it comes to a refresh, it's not necessarily going to be a must. This is just something they want to go after. They see the loot on the other side, but Cooper gets boxed up. Miro trying to be a hero and break him out over towards the other side. It's not going to come through just yet, but finally, Cooper is going to be able to escape. That was a close one. It had me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, listen, anything can really happen in these types of moments. Like, it's even sometimes out of the player's hands, and you can see how difficult it really is right here as the exchanges start to go down. But Miro takes advantage. It looks like things are pretty settled for him. He's got the knock here. He's trying to inch his way in. He finds some feet there, and everything connects in a follow-up too, and he's like, come here, boy. He snatches up the body. He's able to pick up the loot there too, and just like that, they get the refresh they need.
Prepare to fall. I ain't look down since. Fly on my. Not faint apart. Out in the distance, I still hit the top. Yeah, where dreams go dark. I keep my vision. I made it this far. I rose with thorns, battle realms, I found the floor. Hear the sounds of where they mourn. Heroes lost and fear reborn. Ooh, high winds and sky. Sirens may try to bring me to fall, but watch me fly. Skies on fire, guiding through the night, following the signs.
Le chafard. Bon. Voilà. Yep. When did they wake up? When did they wake up?
Wait, what did you say?
I'm bulletproof, born in the fire pit. Fresh out the mud, fresh out of luck to give. Can't even take my crown, can't even take the side of it. Hard place to.
Alright, what did you say? Wait, what?
You have to play duos.
Yo, I'm watching your live stream right now.
Nice.
Hey, you have 100 subscribers.
What?
You have 100 subscribers now.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Like a ginormous party like yesterday.
Well, let's play something.
I told you I don't play. I only play on Saturdays. So on Saturday you'll see me playing and stuff, but I don't play during the week.
Can you give me?
Yes, hold on.
Oh yeah, that's the other hacker. That's the epic game. That's the epic game.
No, I'm the one wearing the actual Renegade Raider.
Oh, this is a bot then.
The Renegade Raider, bro.
Look, the party leader is the bot.
Yeah, the party leader is the bot.
Yeah, that'll make it to you guys.
Ayo, the one that has the crown, the real Renegade Raider.
Yeah, let me show you how to
Can you, since you're Epic Games friend, my guy told him to tell you that he wants the Renegade Raider gifted to him. Can you gift it to him? He's in the lobby. Please.
Alexa, next.
Give me the Renegade Raider, please.
the FNCS pickaxe.
I'm gonna go eat ice cream. No! Can you let me in the real Renegade Raider? Renegade Raider.
Join my party.
Renegade Raider.
Join my party.
Can you give me something? Can you give me the Renegade Raider, please?
Everybody add me. I can gift you in about 2 days if you add me right now.
Can you give me your Have you added
I have, Renegade Raider, can you send me, in 2 days? Yeah, can you give me in 2
I'm
days?
adding all of you guys.
Saffron. If I subscribe, can I get a skip?
Yeah, if you guys subscribe, if you guys also subscribe to my YouTube channel, I can also give you even more gifts.
I either want Travis Scott or Renegade Raider.
Saffron.
What?
I'm watching your stream and I'm subscribed to you. Can you please gift me?
Hey, I subscribe to you.
I'm gonna tell you guys my stream. I'm gonna whisper to all of you guys. I'm gonna whisper all of you guys my stream, my YouTube channel.
Alright. Dad, can you gift me?
I'm whispering it to all of you guys.
I don't know your YouTube channel. Oh, it's
Magnets, man.
Magnets, man. That's your... I'm gonna subscribe right now.
Alright.
Alright, hold on. I'm about to subscribe to you so I can get the OG Renegade Raider and stuff. Bro, I'm so excited. What?
He just wants you to join his party.
Sure. Cause all I have to do is pause. Can you give me the Renegade Raider in 2 more days?
He's the bot.
Renegade Raider.
What?
Renegade Raider. In 2 days, can you give me Travis Scott and Renegade
Which one
Raider?
are you talking to? Which Renegade Raider?
The one that has the mic. Yeah, the one that has the mic.
Okay, what?
In 2 days, can I have Renegade Raider? Me too. King Luffy.
Okay.
Or
Look at my
Travis,
stream.
or
You
Travis.
can look at my stream. You
Yeah,
can see
or-
the Renegade Raiders in my item shop right now. So yeah, I can give you.
Alright,
Dude.
Did you guys subscribe?
Wait, what's his YouTube name? What's his YouTube
Did you
name?
guys subscribe?
King Luffy, when you join his party, invite me.
Yo, did you guys subscribe?
King Luffy,
What?
when you join Angel's party, invite me.